All right, we should be live now. Peace to the family. I got some. Woo! And this is a heavy show today, y'all. Let me see what's going on. I know it's the afternoon. They wasn't ready for this. This is a surprise. Let me see. Well, hold on. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Okay, there we go. All right, Demi. Demi, you always one of the first ones. I want to thank you for your support in the chat room. Demi's always showing love, participating in these discussions. Internet Savior as well. Shout out to Internet Savior. Trav, shout out Trav. Yeah. Shout out Trav, Nebula. We gonna get started. I got a real good one for y'all today. I hope the audio is good. Let me know how my audio is. I hear a little echo on my end with my audio, so I hope it's good on your end.
I'm
But
good.
okay.
I'm good.
Besides, does anybody have their phone speaker on or something?
Nah,
Lloyd? No? Okay.
nah.
All right, so listen, family, we about to get started. We're gonna get to it. This is a wonderful afternoon show on a Friday. Hey, real quick, before I start with my questions, is there what day is ruled? What planet rules Friday?
Venus.
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 Venus. Okay, okay. So I guess today's Venus Day. Is that what we call it?
Yay!
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, do you know that most marriages take place on a Friday?
On a Friday.
Yeah, wow.
Across
So let me ask you. So this is not even. I just thought of this. So you know how everybody loves Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Is that part of the Venus influence
yeah,
that
well,
we
Mm-hmm.
love Friday so much?
Venus rules pleasures, parties,
Oh
events,
shit!
social,
Right.
marriage, all that stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Oh
So
man!
that's why everybody looks forward to Friday, I imagine.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
And I've gotten my best booty calls on Friday.
Woo! Well, with that being said, Saturday is also a day that
Yeah.
everybody enjoys and parties and everything. But isn't that ruled by Saturn? And Saturn's supposed to be like a
Yeah, well,
disciplinary.
Saturn is more serious minded, but you know, when people are partying, they start partying on Friday, and it normally spills into Saturday.
Shows on Saturday.
Saturday.
Right, right, right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And then when they do party on Saturday, it's not until the evening because after 7 or 8 o'clock at night, you start going into the rays or feeling the energies of the next day. So it's
Mm.
really late Saturday night going into Sunday.
And usually, I was in the club world. We used to make the most money on a Saturday, which eight rules the Saturday, which is the money
Money
numbers.
day. Yes, it's a
On the
money day.
sneakers. So I
Yeah.
used to make the most money on Saturday all the time.
If you talk to barbers or beauticians, they will tell you
Yes,
when their best days is definitely Saturday and Friday.
Saturday. Yeah,
That's money day for them. They don't
that's
make
right.
money no other day in the week. It's Friday and Saturdays.
That's right. That's right.
And both six and
Hey,
Friday and Saturday, which rules by 6 and 8 respectively, are the money numbers.
Yep. Attraction, a money attraction, money love, the magnetism to money. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
So
Yes.
what
if you
what
look at
day?
125th Street, that's a
Mm-hmm.
major corridor, but 1 plus 2 plus 5 is 8. The next one in Harlem is 116th Street. One plus
Another
two plus 6 is 8. The
eight.
African community is strong up and down all of 116th from Morningside all the way over to Fifth Avenue. Okay.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just interesting. Oh, and then by the way, one of the most popular streets in Lower Manhattan is 42nd Street, and 4 plus 2 is 6. You
Mm.
see, so there's a lot of things you see, a lot of things.
Wow. I grew up in Harlem on 114th Street. So what's that? That's a six, right?
Yes, but you are a Virgo. You're hold up,
Eight.
you're
Eight.
September 17th, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I'm an eight. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so your numbers are the 8, the 6, and the 5.
Eight,
Yes.
six,
So
five.
so that means today and tomorrow are good days for you, buddy.
Yeah, they,
Especially today.
yeah,
You're
they
born
always
on the
do.
17th, April, January. And so it's a triple star day for you, as Simon and I would know, because first of all, it's your number 17.
That's
It's
right.
falling on one of your best days, and it's falling in one of your best months. In fact, you should, when we finish this show, you should go and play a couple of lotteries. Okay.
Well,
Makes
you know
sense.
what's funny? You know what's funny? I had an intuitive feeling to play Lotto the other day, and I played $10 worth. So I'm gonna
Very
keep.
good.
I'm gonna play.
But this is the day, though, even more so. And let the machine pick it.
Yeah. Why you say
Yes,
that?
because most of the people who won these big megas are not regular players that go every day and play 50, $100 every day. It
Mm-hmm.
just they went and got some gas, got in the store, oh, buy me, give me one of them tickets, and they win. So if you're not a regular, you would actually have a better chance of winning something than the person who would play on a regular basis all day long, every day.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, so let the machine pick it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's get started.
Okay, good enough.
Let's get started, man. Because I mean, I could talk to
I'm
you.
good to see Simon. I ain't seen my brother in a minute.
Yeah. You know, I need to make this. I need to get both of y'all together at least once a month on here.
Okay, good enough. Done. That's a done deal for me.
Once a month, that'll be amazing. What y'all think in the chat room? I think that'll be great. Both of them together, this is such a powerful combination.
Yeah. That's my brother right there too.
Simon.
Man, King Simon always showing you love, Lloyd. Always.
Yeah.
That's love, family. That's love right there.
That's how we go. Okay.
That's love. Lloyd, they want to know how can they reach you in the chat room, Lloyd?
I don't know, to be honest. How do they do that?
No.
Tell them your website, Lloyd. Tell them your website. They want to reach you.
My website is Lloyd-Strahorn.com. Oh, you know what I'm thinking about? There's two ways. Lloyd-Strahorn.com. That's LLOYD Strahorn, Strayhorn, Lloyd-Strahorn.com. I do have a toll-free number. You can call in now too if you want to schedule something for the session later, and that's 1-800-581-4401. That's 1-800-581-4401, which begs the question I need to ask my brother Simon.
Yes.
Website, or if not, how come
I'm here putting in your website in the chat right now.
No. What about don't you have a website, Simon?
Yes, I'm gonna send everything. I'm gonna say it right now. I just put yours in there because I'm a moderator.
Thank you. Please.
Yeah. So yes. King Simon, y'all know, y'all text me your full name and date of birth. I like control of my stuff. So y'all text me. Yes, exactly, because I'm a number one. So y'all text me at 347-496-1022. I'm gonna put that in the chat right now. 347-496-1022. And over WhatsApp, also text me at that same number. My website is kingsimonproductions.wordpress.com. That's kingsimonproductions.wordpress. That's right, .wordpress.com. Putting it in the chat right now. Okay, there you go.
Simon, how do you put that in the chat? How are you doing?
I'm on my phone also. I'm also on the phone.
Okay.
Brother, he working.
Listen, Simon is the one that got me responsible for doing my PowerPoint. I never knew anything about PowerPoint, but Simon is self-taught. Simon is a genius as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, you too, sir.
How do you do that? But you know what, though? To Simon's credit, when you don't have anybody around, guess what? You learn how to do it yourself.
Yeah.
He has definitely mastered that.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother.
Listen, I want to start out. First of all, I want to give a shout out to everybody who's participating in the 7-day fast with me and KT, the Arch 3. I don't know if any of y'all in the chat, but shout out to everybody in this fast. It's been magnificent so far. But to start out with the show, I need to know, what is it about 2020, I guess the 2 and the 2 to 4, where since I was a little kid, anytime I hear this number, I think about perfect vision. What does perfect vision have to do with this 2020 in numerology? Let's start out like that, gentlemen.
Okay, Simon, you want to start first, or you want me to?
I'll start off first, and then you can close it, Elder. Of course, 2020 in numerology, definitely. What's so funny about that? A lot of people say perfect vision, but if you don't see clearly why you have this perfect vision, then it can also be a detriment to you too. There's another side, because I always say on your show and my show that there's a duality to numbers. So perfect vision means, but you got a lot of people with perfect vision that are ignorant. you understand? So be very clear about this perfect vision stuff. Everybody, the 2020 represents the 20 alone represents the awakening alone, judgment, paying attention to the awakening spirit within yourself, but also being awakened for opportunities. But also it represents judgment, because you have to also be judgmental of what you're doing, but also of other people. So the twos in that 2020 represents a good intuitive mindset that we have to be in. So our intuitive mindset has to be clear, just like our physical vision has to be clear. in the 2020. And remember, it adds up to the 4, which deals with foundation, which deals with structure and organization, but it also deals with mental capacity, dealing with your mind on a higher level mentally, or it will go down to a lower level mentally. So yeah, I tell people in the 2020, it adds, is that the 22 is a master number. We know, myself and Lloyd understand that 22, that master number is about master building, but you could also be a master destroyer if you don't understand the duality of the both.
True.
Please. Go ahead, Lloyd.
Oh, listen, here's, to take a thing, it's interesting. I was on Gary Bird's show the other day, and I was saying that there's 2 ways of looking at this year, 2020. One is, for example, as Simon had mentioned first, that you go to a doctor and your eyes are what they call normal, which means you can see clearly, and with vision, as he says, you have what is called 20/20 vision. Unfortunately, most of us think 2020 backwards after something has happened. I have been extremely intelligent on many occasions in a 2020 hindsight moment. Okay, I think we all have. And so what happens is that this year says that a person moving forward this year has a choice. One, they can either keep their eyes focused and clear in what's in front of them and reach their goals and objectives, or they can live the whole 2020 looking back on what they should have done, which is, well, life is not like a video game. You know how you can start it over again? So, you what the hindsight does for me is you keep it moving. One, you try not to make the same mistake again. That's one of the advantages of 2020 hindsight, that let us not do this on a regular basis, because if you keep doing it on a regular basis, then that means something is kind of like, what's up with that, So that's how this year is. And not only that, but if you take it, not only this year, the start of a new year, it's the start of a new decade. And this is a start in world history where this moment, 2020, is only going to come one time, and we're in this moment. It's never going to happen again in human history where 2020 is going to come together again. And if you look at the 20th card in the tarot deck, it's called the Awakening. Thanks, Simon. And it's a picture symbol of a man, a woman, and a child, and their hands clasped. And it's almost as if ascending or rising. So it means if everybody this year should be about raising your consciousness, raising your awareness. This ugliness, all this other stuff that this administration and whatnot, now where everybody want to just be absolutely mean, that's not going to work this year. It's really, really not. And plus, when you add up the year, because 2, first of all, is the helpmate in the signs of numerology, because 2 rules the sign of Cancer. So that's a nurturing sign, and it's repeated twice. And because it is repeated twice, that means people are going to be very serious this year about changing their diets. Okay?
Hey, man, the fast. I just told you we started out with a fast.
That's right.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, see?
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be changing diets because they're finding now these foods are so processed, so altered, that people are actually getting sick eating food that's supposed to be nutritional to let you live.
That's right. And that's why Dr. Africa said we haven't eaten real food in probably 30 years.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Everything is genetically modified or altered, unfortunately. And so you will hear adults say, food don't taste like it used to. And Dr. Africa's right, it's not. Everything has been altered. Ice cream, and in fact, I did a show the other day, Simon, with Hank Rising's son. And I made mention about diet and food. He says, yeah, my Haagen-Dazs don't taste like it used to, So things are changing in the diet. And especially those that are accustomed to sugar. And I've noticed, because I'm now aware through Dr. Sabi and people of that nature, that sugar's all over the place. You got sugar in everything. And you go to a candy store, and I see why these candies are selling for, they used to be pennies, now they're dollars and dimes and nickels, dimes, and quarters. But they sell all this out. They got these cakes you can get for 99 cents. Nothing but sugar.
Right.
Sugar is worse than crack and cocaine. People don't realize that.
And Rich, I wanted to say something very clear to people. When you're in a 2020, it adds up to that 4. 4 is one of those mental depressive numbers.
Yes.
I'm going there because if you're eating these constant bad foods, it's also going to also help with the depression, because a lot of us eat because of emotional stuff. crunchy stuff, sweet stuff. This is all different sciences that work with each other. So the medical industry is working with the candy industry.
Oh yeah,
they're thinking about this.
they're in cahoots, man. Ain't nobody showing or a main campaign about some of the ills of sugar.
Exactly. And
None of them. None of them. So when you look at Halloween, then next month's gonna be Valentine. They're gonna sell candy up the yin yang. You know what I'm saying? All kinds of things that people will do. But here's the thing too, Simon said that I was gonna move in the direction, because when you add 2 + 2, it is 4. 4 rules the mental faculties. 4 rules depression, moodiness, mood swings, things of that nature. There's a term that I told Simon that the 4 use. I rarely try to say it on a show such as this, but Simon and I know to the extreme, 4s can get super, super depressed. Here's what I'm saying. If you watch TV, okay, because I'm a news junkie, because I'm always on radio, somebody's asked me about this, that, and the other, this president, your president, whatever the case is, okay? But what happens is, one day I did something very unusual. One day, all I simply did was mute. When it came to the commercials, I muted the TV. Because as soon as you get to the commercials, I hear cancer commercials, I hear diabetes commercials, I hear skin problems. I don't hear nothing about no happiness. I don't hear nothing about no positivity. It's always cancer. Like, oh wow, I wonder how soon I can go to that hospital, you know, because I'm gonna get this. So what I've done when the commercials come on, I put the TV on mute. The first thing you can do is hear things in your house, like the humming of the refrigerator, the cars outside your window, you know. So I'm saying try that, and you would, especially for those who are kind of going through some mental issues right now. Okay, and they should definitely not go to sleep with their radio and TV on. Although some do, everybody's got their own way. Some may be in disagreement. I ain't got a problem with that. My job is not to fight anybody. I'm just telling people with the cycles that we're going through, which Simon knows as himself all too well, that your mental state of mind is going to be and play a very important part. And this is why you're going to see a lot of people walking around not wrapped too tight too this year. And but heart goes out to them. 4 is always the number 2, Rich, of the underdog. They don't like seeing people suffer. They don't like the homeless. They don't like seeing people down and out. So notice the rise in Hong Kong where the masses are rising up. Now they're doing the same in Iran. They're doing the same thing in South America. You keep this up because the United States is going through a very challenging year itself this year. There may be an uprising in this country too before the year is over, although we just...
How do you know the United States is going to go through a challenging year from 2020 in comparison to other countries? How is the United States affected differently by the number 4 from other countries?
Simon, I know you know. You want to tell him, Simon? Simon did not pass the ball back and forth. You know, that's how we roll.
First, we know that the number 4 rules the United States.
Yes, exactly right.
But remember, as much as they tried to make us afraid of the number 4, the number 13 for years, they used the number 4 for many years in its own capacity. But think about this, family. Think about this. If it's ruled by their personal year, the personal number of the United States, July 4th, 1776. Let's take the 4. If that's their personal number, the personal number has 2 different ways to me. As from my study, have 2 different ways. And America was built on mentally challenged people, according to my studies, especially of people that came over here from Europe. A lot of them was from the prison systems of Europe and then brought over here. So they was already mentally confused. A lot of these was already mentally disturbed. So the 4 itself, as far as from my studies of numerology, the 4 represents mental instability. Also, the 4 represents structure that they need to maintain, but also the depressives, because in the study of depression, and because I'm writing a book on depression and numbers, I found that the United States, next to India, is one of the most depressive places in the world. So because this is a number 22 or 2020 year universally, we got to pay attention to the mental stability of the people of this. And that's why it's going to affect America even more. And also because 4 can also be a very challenging number to America on the other hand, from my studies. Lloyd, please.
And I want to add to that too, because I think more in line with your question, like when I made the reference that the United States would go through a challenge this year, you add how did I arrive at that? And it was very simple. What I did is I took July 4th, which is the month and day of the founding of this country, and then I added it to the present year, which is 2020. So in one hand, the United States will do well because this is the year of the 4. The United States is born on, or its inception is on the 4th. However, the United States is passing into a 6 personal year. Now, Simon and I know one of the major opposition numbers to the number 4 is the number 6. Give an example in history. The United States was set up in 1776, but less than 100 years later, in the 1860s, there was a civil war. Why? Over people looking like us, okay? Then you fast forwarded 100 years later to the 1960s. We all know what that was about. Malcolm X, you know what I'm saying, Martin Luther King, you know, demonstrations, sit-ins, all kinds of demonstrations. The Voting Rights Act was passed, although they rescinded it, and other types of things. So I noticed that whenever this country reached the 60s, so when it reaches the 2060s, it's going to be rough. That's what, about 40 years from now. But I would say unless this country straighten up its act, and one of the ugliness is the way it treats its people, in the sense of one thinking one person is better than another. And me, from my vantage point, in the eyes of the Creator, everybody is special. Every single body. We just come in different colors. And you know what's very interesting to me too, Simon? You know, they got different colors of flowers, different colors and shapes of dogs and cats. And, you know, we got different shades of human beings. And then we want to get ugly with it. That's the only thing I don't understand. I understand, but I don't understand. Feel me?
Hey, Lloyd, repeat your 800 number again real quick so I can put it in again.
My 800 number is 1-800-581-4401. That's 1-800-581-4401. And if somebody called now, there will actually be somebody calling them back to schedule an appointment to see me, because this is a very important year. So let's take you, Rich, okay? Can't leave you out, buddy. All right, so you're born on the 17th of September. So for you this year, you will be entering what is called a 5 personal year. Now, excuse me, saying correct that, a 3 personal year.
3 personal year.
And 3 is, now when an astrologer looks at a chart, they always look to see where Jupiter is, because that's called the good luck planet. Well, you happen to be in a good luck cycle this year. So things are going to expand, things are going to grow. You're also in a prosperity cycle. Jupiter and Saturn gets along extremely well. Both of them are also money indicators. So, Rich, you're going to be my new best friend for the year, buddy.
Now, let me go to your wife. Your wife, because that's the balance. I like the balance. Yes, I got to work the balance. And that's interesting because you're going into a 3 personal year, Sagittarius ruled by the 3. That should be a better off relationship working together in harmony. But also, she is born December the 2nd. And she is going into, in this year, she'll be going into a 9 personal year this cycle, in this year coming right now. So, but now tell her, because 9 is her challenge number, because she's born on the 2nd. Tell her she has to keep her mind on a higher level, try to avoid arguments and irritation as much as possible, and stay on a humanitarian level, a humanitarian understanding that not everything is supposed to bother her. And also, if she's driving, be careful of police officers, be careful of getting into any kind of obstruction or any kind of argument with people, even with her friends. Because I know she can get really emotional just because of a number. And I know she could turn up when she wants to. I already know how that number works. And she's very sensitive. But because a 9 is a challenging number, and she's going into a 9 personal year this year, she got to be very mindful of her energy being and use. This is what she needs to use the 9 for. Her 2, as far as her personal number, is all about the insight, the intuitiveness, the spirituality, the balance, and the compassion. But the 9 is the assertive energy that says whatever she downloads in this year, she has to take it on a higher level, a humanitarian level, and move up to a higher level. That's why I do what I do, numeralization, to keep y'all motivated on what y'all do, to keep it going. And you'll say, she should be going into that music even more. She should take her music, because I know she's one of those people that does music also. She needs to take it into another higher level. This year and next year is going to be good for her, for that.
But she is going to play a very important role in your life this year, because with you being in a 3 cycle year, what Simon was alluding to, therefore, signs that are governed by this planetary number, such as Sagittarius, your wife, and Pisces, will play a part, or they'll either be born on the 3rd of the month, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month as well.
Damn, I think one of my closest friends was born March 3rd.
Yeah.
And that's Pisces, right?
And I was going to say that's a Pisces, if you notice. Pisces.
So that's interesting, because KT's wife is born March the 4th. She's gonna go, and notice. Remember what Lloyd and I always say about the sneak peek months coming in around September, October of last year, and how last year was a number 3 year. How Sabli's name was big. He was a Sagittarius. He was big in last year. And then Dolomite being born under the Pisces was big during the ending of the year with Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy being born under the number 3. It all works together, you know.
Sometimes people think Simon and I be bugging. It's the number to be bugging, okay? It's like you can't. Listen. You can't make this stuff.
You can't make it up.
If not, it makes us look real good. That's all I can say. It shows you what happens.
Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah. And despite all the confusion, it shows you there's still order in this universe.
Isn't that something?
Yes.
Organized confusion.
Follow our numbers. There is still order in this universe, buddy. That's why the Earth don't spin off its axis and just go out into space. Although we're already in space, to be honest with you.
Indeed. What can you tell me about 2020 and like natural disasters? We seen what's going on with Australia and the fires, and that's something people are usually worried about. Is there any indication of natural disasters happening more often in 2020?
Well, 4 rules, and 2020 is a 2, which Simon and I know is composed of water. So water and air will be the more, shall we say, challenging elements. So for example, when you say, well, what does the fire got to do with Australia? Well, we know, like in California, the air, when the wind is blowing, you can, I mean, in Australia, I think it says almost about 18 million acres have been burned. And you know why? They waiting for the air to calm down. And what finally calmed it down too is it rain. In California, that's the same problem. When fire spreads, what is happening? They don't have control over the winds that come across the state of California. And so they're at the mercy of Mother Nature. And so they can. So despite all the efforts that those Australian firemen did, they had firemen coming from the United States and other parts of the world to pitch in. Nothing could stop the fire. Mother Nature is just that furious. So when Mother Nature gets mad, everybody and their mother better get up out the way.
And I, from a political stance, we got to find out what's the natural minerals there too, and what are they looking for? Because sometimes these people start fires.
Right.
Well, actually, they said about 4 or 5 people were actually arrested in Australia for deliberately starting.
I don't even pay attention to that.
I mean, why would somebody want to, listen, a good portion of the country is already burning. So why would you want to add to the flames? Why would you want to add to the drama of it? Like the
Amazons. They do that to get something. They're looking for something. And that's why I said about 2020, pay attention. It's still the number 22 is still the number of delusions and illusions, and it's the number of technology. So they use technology as a way of manipulating people. Yeah. So, and because America and their whole propaganda platform is a militarized platform, they know the art of deception. they have to throw a stone over there and then do something over there. That's how they do things. So I always look at the other news around instead of just looking at what they're trying to let us know on TV or on the regular media. We got to pay attention, especially in the number 22 year or Master 2020 year.
But you know what's interesting? There was a piece not long ago, just this week,
yes, sir.
They said the Aborigines of Australia, had they used their techniques, they wouldn't have had all this kind of fires. Because they said the Aborigines knew how to work with the seasons. They knew that if it was hot, certain grass shouldn't be too close to this because it would act like a tinderbox. So notice how all the things we do are original in its place of people of color, if you notice.
Yeah.
And they're saying all they got to do is go back to the way the Aborigines would do it, and it wouldn't be a massive fire like that. So what do we know, right, Rich?
You know what I want to ask you? I had a talk with Ra Cool.
Yeah.
And I hate misquoting people. I don't want to say he's. I'm trying to think exactly how he said it. I don't want to mess up what he said. But I was basically talking to him about and I talked to both of you about this before, about free will versus destiny when it comes to numerology.
Yes.
And he basically said, if I remember correctly, that we have free will before we incarnate down here, and we choose what experience we want to experience. But once we down here, you know, we're following them stars, whatever's going on, because it's micro, macro. So whatever's happening in the stars is happening down here. So what do you think about the free will occurs before we get here? But once we get here, it's, you know, it's everything's said and done.
There used to be this saying that the stars impel, but they don't compel. In other words, the stars set the stage of the conditions of things, but it is still the free will of the individual to follow it. So, for example, I can tell a person, listen, if you stand in the middle of the street and get hit by a truck, it's a wrap. Okay? Now, they don't have to believe me. Okay? They could do it themselves. And when they find out there is no tomorrow for them, it's a done deal. So what I'm saying is, it is good to read your horoscope. It is good to know the cycles of things, but it's always good to have free will too. So the one thing I teach my students, and especially my children coming up, is you either think for yourself or somebody will do your thinking for you.
Right. And from Rod Cruz's perspective, I respect that because
I understand where he's coming from, but I also understand
where he's coming from that perspective. But think about your baby, Rich. Right now, that baby has don't know nothing about the cars and what stepping out the street. So right then and there, that child can be destined to do anything at any time because they have no fear. They don't even understand their willpower yet. So we are coming down at this realm at the baby stage. I think that's it. But when we develop into an older and start understanding certain things, that's when our will starts to develop. But that's why a lot of motivational speakers says, think like a child, be childlike and do it, but plan like an adult. Because there's times when we have to move from the childlike ways, because childlike ways almost got me burned, almost had me jump out of windows, almost had me do all kinds of stuff, run in front of a car, a truck, when I was a child. We do as child did. But now as we get an adult and develop our willpower, we do as adults, and now we're able to discern and what we're going to do. So me and Lloyd might read the numbers, and we'll give them the positive and the negative of the numbers, but it's up to them which path they're going to choose.
Hey, yeah, and that we can't do. We can't hold everybody's hand. That's not my job.
We can't hold nobody. Exactly. We can't hold nobody's hand. You know, but I get where Raku's coming, and he's right from his perspective, from a certain perspective, and I think we're right from a perspective because we got to balance this out.
Yeah, it is a balance.
Children don't know nothing. Let your child Sirius run out there in the street. He don't know nothing.
For example, your baby is totally dependent on you and mommy. Totally. He doesn't know squat about nothing. And the only natural fears is either a loud sudden sound or fear of falling. Those are all the other fears we create of our own. So it is important as parents that we create as less fear. Don't be afraid to make decisions. Don't be afraid to, there's this guy, said he was always afraid of the police because his dad had taught him that, or whatever the case is. I'm not scared of the police. I will respect them because of their authority figure. But there's a total difference of respect and fear of something. Okay. And so a lot of these fears we have are psychosomatic. A lot of them have a lot to do with then physical manifestations.
Yeah.
So if you're walking around carrying a lot of burdens of other people's problems psychologically, then all of a sudden your back might act up or something of that nature, not knowing there's a direct relationship to the things that we are thinking about. And in fact, there was a book that is out called How to Live 365 Days a Year. It's called EII, Emotionally Induced Illnesses. That a lot of the illnesses we're walking around with starts here, psychologically.
Yeah.
And then we carry these burdens over and whatnot. So we have to be careful what we say. We got to be careful what we think. And this is going to be a very important year because 2020 is also a health cycle too.
And you know, Rich, the Europeans or this society, when they realize, according to their science, that the two known fears are falling and a loud sound, what do? They start doing bungee jumping. They start doing airplane skydiving to overcome the fear. And then they start creating bombs and gun fields and all that to overcome loud sounds. These same fears can be overcame. And we was taught fear through movies and television. The fear of the dark, when we're supposed to embrace the dark side, if you understand the dark side from its true essence.
Yeah.
You're not going to be afraid of the dark side.
Part of the fear is to control.
To control.
And so, for example, if you look at the Europeans here in this country, a lot of their stuff is fear-driven. You know, scared of Black people, for example. And every Black person is potentially some, I mean, I'll give you an example. I was walking up the street not too long ago, and there was a white woman ahead of me, and her bag was kind of on, I was walking on the outside, and her bag was there, and then I guess she saw me coming, then she moved it over to the other side. You know what I'm saying? These are their fears.
Yes.
This is their psychosis. The only sad part about it, Brother Rich, is we are the ones that suffer the consequences of their psychosis and neurosis.
Right. And somebody said in your chat, somebody said in your chat.
Fear of a Black man. You know what I'm saying? And yet we are the creators of civilization. How do you do that?
So somebody said in your chat, Rich, just now, Raul Koo said that whatever happens, baby or adult, it can be found in the charts. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also that baby still has a choice when they get older to either take the beaten path, or they could take the easy path or the slow path, and they still have that choice, but it's still in their chart to either take either path. Even in numerology, I look at the both, I look at the duality, and it's up to you whether you let the traumas take over. Rich, I've been afraid of flying, or not flying, but afraid of skydiving. I'm about to set up a thing on skydiving. For all these years, I've been afraid of it. When I realized that my father used to do it, and I said, okay, my pops used to do this in the Marines.
Wow,
Let me do it. And I said, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I did a helicopter ride the other day just to release that fear. So we have to, a lot of the fears that we gathered since we was young through movies and television. I used to be afraid of the dark. We have, at Lloyd, remember, we used to have this television show called Creature Feature, and they used to show us all this crazy stuff. So I used to get afraid of the dark, thinking a rat gonna get me, or a spider gonna get me, all this kind of craziness. And then I had to overcome it in my older age because I had to decide in my mind that I was gonna overcome it.
You know what, Simon, which is so interesting to this day, I will not watch a horror movie and go to bed. I'm going to go to bed. I'm not going to watch no horror movie before I go to bed. Sorry, just not going to do it.
I hear you.
So Simon know what I'm talking about.
Real quick, family, just a reminder, make sure y'all support the channel by donating to Cash App.
Do.
Yes.
I just put the link up. Matter of fact, somebody who donate, we'll read a number live on air if somebody send a donation. That gets them moving.
5 donations, they'll get 5 readings.
That gets them moving. You tell them that, they be on their phone like, let me send Brother Rich.
Good. We want them to send you 5 different donations, not for one person, but 5 different people, and we'll read 5 different people.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to ask y'all, now, numerology, this system that's so accurate right now, and I mean, both you brothers have been extremely accurate in my life. I want to know, does it just works for a certain age in Earth? Like, let's say, 14,000 years from now, is this system still going to be as relevant as it is today? Or if the earth moves off its axis or something like that, does the whole number game change then?
I doubt it very seriously, my friend. No, I doubt it.
Okay.
The reason why numbers will always be here. People will change because some people will come and go through death and natural causes. But as long as human beings walk this planet, there's always going to be a need for what we do in this. And the numbers will never change. 2 + 2 is still going to be 4. Now, people can argue all day long if they want to. 1,000 years from now, guess what? 2 + 2, Rich, it's still going to be 4.
And I was researching about China and other places, and I realized when I checked out the charts in China and all that kind of stuff, where they might have a 4,000 year, 4,017 year in their actual chart, or Jewish people might have another 4,000 some out here. Rafu asked me this question outside of Nicholas, and I said, yes, it's a matter of culture, because if I went over to China and I decide to live there, then my vibration will start to connect with that.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It is a magic code. So even if I go into the Jewish community and decide to live in a Jewish community and they're following under a Jewish Hasidic calendar, then my energy would resonate. But we also give unto Caesar's what is Caesar's and give unto the Lord what is the Lord. We use both, and we know how to deal with both, because you got Ethiopian calendars right now. You got Dogon calendars.
You got the Mayan calendar.
Calendars.
All kinds of calendars.
So we can work with all of them. We can work with all of them. That's the beauty of numbers, that we could work with all of them in any culture. Patterns, because numbers just reveal patterns. It reveals the seasons. It reveals the cycles that we're in every day, every month, every year, every time, every second. That's all it does. It's revealed. It don't conceal. It reveals. So I can work anywhere. I don't care if I went to China. I can work off of their calendar and deal with Chinese numerology. Yeah. And what's their favorite number in China, Lloyd?
8 and 6.
8 and 6. Thank you very much.
and the number they fear the most is the number 4. And in fact, when I say 4 in Chinese, that sounds like the word death, which is why they don't like the word. Yes.
Damn.
I went to China. Yeah. I went to China, they're into numbers. I went to India, they're into numbers. I went to Egypt, they're into numbers. Anywhere, if you notice, anywhere you go where there are people of color, this is our baby. These are
baby. That's right.
Yeah. All right, a couple of individuals sent a Cash App donation, so
Very
I guess
good. We need 4 more. Good.
So I guess what I want to know is, how does 2020 affect these individuals? Let's start with let me see who sent something. Peter Crawford, January 18th, 1988.
Simon, you want to hit that first?
This for Peter Crawford. I hope you're listening.
So I'll hit that first. No problem.
What's going on with 2020 and Peter Crawford?
Okay. First of all, Peter Crawford, how you doing, sir? I hope everything is well. Now, first of all, he right now, according to the studies of numbers, he would be considered in his critical cycle right before his birthday. He's right.
Yes, that's right. Which is tomorrow.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Right. His birthday's tomorrow. So your critical cycle ends and your reputation cycle comes in. So this is a good time to get your reputation on top of par. And because you are going, let me see, you're going into a 5 personal year this year. This is a good year for expansion, a good year for travel, a good year if you want to set up business and move to the next level with your business. Also, it's a good year of drastic changes and things that might come along. So just be mindful, don't be scattered-minded and all over the place. Have discipline, because you're born on the 18, which is a 9, and 9 represents seeing things to its finished, completing what you start. Lloyd, you go ahead after me, please. You go ahead.
Well, in his case, he is, as Simon says, he's in a 5-year. And I call 5 like being at the halfway point of a journey. You know, you're halfway into the session. It's like at a crossroads, and you got to make up your mind which direction you want to use it. Is also a good cycle for branding. He is in a cycle where he could take advantage of commerce and communications and import, export, the stock exchange, the literary field. Since 9 is a publishing number and he's in a literary cycle this year, maybe he should, write something, a blog, or, but express himself more through the written word this year too. He can also do well with lectures. But 9 people normally have very good opinions of themselves. They think they're all of that. In a way, they are all of that in a way. But they're very humanitarian, very global, universal, international. And it tells me with this person born on January the 16th, that this is a very important month that they kicked off, because this is their love month. They're in a 6 personal month that has to do with home, family, making adjustments, separation, divorce, births, pregnancies, and a host of other things like that too.
Indeed. Let's get to the Pretty Witch. The Pretty Witch, September 2nd, 1971.
Virgo is a, shall we say, a dietary sign. 2 is a dietary number, which tells me whoever this particular person are, they're extremely finicky about their eating habits, their dietary laws. So if they're vegan, semi-vegetarians and stuff like that, it wouldn't surprise me. Or on the business side, they can make excellent cooks or chefs or caterers or preparers of foods or owners of restaurant businesses and stuff like that. Her numbers also indicates she would be a sweetie pie in a sense, and she would notice every little detail that you could not imagine.
Now, from my point of view, and of course from the numerical point of view, of course she's entering a 6th personal year, of course. Yep. Which deals with balance and harmony and truth and justice and reciprocity within yourself. But it's also a health year. It's also a possible pregnancy year, but not just pregnancy with a baby, but pregnant with new ideals and other kind of forces that can go across the board.
Yeah.
But also, this could be a gain of family and a loss of family if you're not careful. A gain of money and a loss of money. And because her alignment number, or what some may call the first pinnacle number, is a number 11, because 9 plus 2 is 11. And the master number 11 says she has to be very careful of people who try to deceive her in relationship and business and various other things. And because she's a number 2, yes, y'all go through the extremities of love issues, only because y'all are so loving. Some people can't handle your love. And people they're healing numbers. They're about healing. This is a good healing cycle for her too. And if she has any problems with family this year, this is a good year to resolve issues with family of the past.
Listen, family, before we do a couple more, man, leave your, King Simon, leave both of your contact info in the chat.
Right now, yes, sir.
Because I want y'all to get the full reading. This is just brief, and they're so good at what they do. I want everybody to contact them to get the full reading. And in fact, if we don't get to you today on the show, I'll send them your names. Get the full reading with these gentlemen, and it'll definitely be worth it. But I definitely want y'all to support these 2 brothers in our community. We don't have many this sharp. Like, I could give them any birthday, and they like that. They just like that. Both of them.
Yeah, we
got
like issues. Yeah, we definitely got issues.
Thanks to one of my teachers here. He's one of my teachers. This is the one. This is the man. I mean, he's the epitome of it.
Let's get to we got Victoria here.
No.
And this Victoria is born on June the 5th, 1989.
Go ahead.
Very attractive, but she's been going through some changes since the Thanksgiving holidays of last year through now. And the reason why is all Geminis reach their lowest point under the sign of Sagittarius. So if you look at Donald Trump, who is a Gemini, a Gemini, he was impeached officially in the sign of Sagittarius on the 18th of December of last month. Okay, so December and January for this lady, but it indicates she's quite attractive. But if you can get past her looks, she's got brains to match her beauty as well. And I would encourage men, and let me, and for the guys too. And I'm sure most of us guys know this, but women have a way of looking just very beautiful. But then again, women are human too. And so when women come home, they take off all the things that make them look gorgeous. And if we guys could learn how to deal with women past how fine they look or what they figure look like and attracted us, and get to really go down the rabbit hole, not only would they be happier, but we would be happier too. Give ourselves a lot of emotional wear and tear. And I said, wow, I wish I'd have known that after she done took everything off. Okay. When I say take everything off, I'm not talking about the clothes. I'm talking about the wig. Right. I'm talking about the other things that women have to make themselves attractive as they do it now on the street.
And for her, from my angle here, she's born June 5th, right? That's correct.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because she's going into the same number 6. She's in the same number 6 cycle as the last one. She's going into that same success. If you notice, right? All right, good. So again, but because she's born under the 6-5 Gemini, remember the 5 is the scattered mind, the scattered brain. You need to learn to focus. And this, because these are one of your crossroads years, this is about the year of balancing your thoughts, balancing your mind, balancing your budget, balancing yourself, but also having a harmonious sense of responsibility for your inner self. Don't scatter your inner thoughts. She needs to get more into, these next few years is going to dictate that she's going to need to get more into herself and also into meditation going into a 7-year cycle. Because she's really going to have to start reflecting all her past madness that she's been through all her life, that she's been through, because she's all over the place. That's why Lloyd used to say that the number 5s are the jack of all trades, master of none.
Yep.
They're scattered. They need to unscatter themselves, and there'll be some brilliant people. You got brilliant people born under the number 5 in most of the signs, especially like people that were born under number like Disney. He was born December 5th. Little Richard born on December 5th. Quincy Jones born on the 14th of March. Also, Einstein is born on the 14th of March. Usher is born on October 14th. We got to understand why the 5 is so brilliant. Even the people born on the 23rd, the 14th, or the 5th, that's a straight 5. So that straight 5 got to be straight up with their internal self and understand they can't go through life just being all over the place. They need to really focus on who they are, what they are. Because she has an alignment number that's a number 11 also, she's very insightful. I guarantee you that sister, before she got into any relationship, she knew she wasn't supposed to mess with that person. And then all of a sudden, her gut feelings told her she wasn't supposed to mess with that person, but she ended up doing it any damn way.
Yeah.
Right there.
Has anybody, real quick question. Has anybody ever gotten mad at y'all for a reading that y'all gave to them?
Not that I can know of, and I've been doing this more than a minute too.
Okay, all right.
Nobody's ever gotten mad. No.
I can say.
There's no reason for them to get mad, because the objectives of persons like Simon and I is to help them. Now, if they want to get mad for us helping them, then they got to go to some professional counseling.
I've had that. I've had the people get upset, but they got upset in the way that they didn't want to. They're going against what was said, because
right, that's what. Yeah.
They want to do that. That's up to them. That's the willpower again.
Yeah.
They choose to walk that road. I already told them the positive and negative of it. Now it's up to you whether you walk that road. And then when you come back to me and say, "Oh, King Simon, you was right," I'm like, okay, I just leave it alone. So, not angry in that sense, but they try to go against what is said. Because remember, numerology is objective. We give you what we have to give you. We give you the constructive, the obstructive, and the destructive. The constructive, the obstructive, and the destructive of the numbers. It's up to you.
That's why Simon got to be one of the best-selling numerology books. Numbers are not complicated. No, numbers
are simple. People are complicated.
That is very. I mean, I told Simon, I still tell him. I don't know how long the guy put the book out, but I wish I'd have had that title, because that is absolutely true. Give you an example, Rich. When I had my show at WLIB, WBLS, I had the psychic on. He read the engineer. I then the engineer said, well, what he was saying wasn't true. And I walked my desk to the elevator, and then I came back into the studio. The engineer said everything the man said was true. Why do people do that? That's why I love Simon's book.
Wow.
I mean, if he had said the man would that have made him lesser than? Right. But he had told that man that what he said was not true. And then when I came back, he said everything was true. That's human beings, man.
Human beings, yeah.
In my studies and research, the most skeptical people have been under the number 3 and the number 5, and sometimes under the Pisces, Sag, and Virgo and Gemini energy. I don't know what your research is, but under my research, that's what I've seen. What have you seen?
Well, I hadn't noticed like that, but I know Anthony was a Libra 1 person. I know that.
Okay.
But people will do this in our business, and so it's fun on one hand. And so, for example, Simon and I make it very entertaining and humor. But believe me, when you get with Simon, he's dead serious. When you get with me, I'm dead serious. Now we may have a more uplifting way of delivering it, because sometimes people are nervous or apprehensive and don't know what we're going to say. So I always try to add a little sense of humor, a little positive. Oh, and it's always positive.
Right.
People also complain about that. Every time you say something, Lloyd, it's always positive. Yeah, because we're always knocking each other. We've been doing it for 400 years. Tell me something else about now.
And from my way, I give them the negative and I give them the positive, but I want why I understand that, because when I'm studying a lot of these motivational speakers, and I've studied a lot of preachers and speakers, and from Reverend Ike to A.R. Bernard and all these people, you have to tell them their weaknesses so they'll be able to strengthen it so they can become better. So I tell them their weaknesses. If you come to me with a consultation with you and your woman, you know how many people probably send Lloyd and they want to do a consultation with them and their family, but their partner is not on the line. I need you and your partner so I could tell you about your BS and I could tell her about her BS, and then y'all could try to work this thing out. That's how
I would prefer to see you with your lady than just by yourself. Because when I'm talking to you, she's hearing what I'm saying. When I'm talking to her, you're hearing. And then this way, when you turn around, you say, you see, boo?
Exactly.
Because if you don't, she'll say, of course, honey, you're going to say that because she's been knowing you, or whatever. But if she hears it totally objective from a complete stranger, okay, then you can give her that look, say, see, I done told you this, okay? Then you can get to rub yours in.
All the time. And I have some people cry. Some people cry when you, and Lloyd and I, we did a workshop, and we got another workshop coming. This time it's going to be an astrology and numerology workshop coming up in June. I got that coming up with myself, Lloyd, and Queen Quiet Storm. People just have to text me and they'll get all that information. But one thing I realized, Lloyd, and I thank him and I thank all of the different studies, Lloyd told us years ago, when you study this system, you must take it upon yourself and use it for what you're connected to and where you're connected to around you. Because you'll find different experiences. Although the thread of information on the numbers is the same, you're going to find different experiences throughout everybody. That's why I'm able to call out everybody in the conscious community. All their birthday hours. Most of the people, you shout out their name, I could say their birthday. Lord knows the celebrities more than me. I know everybody in the conscious community that I dealt with, from Brother Rich to Sonetta to Tazariak, everybody's name I know. I know their birthdays. If I asked them their birthday, I got it. But one person in the conscious community said to me one time, what can numerology do for people? How is it going to help save Black people? I said, numerology helps us to become better. It helps us to recognize our weaknesses and our strengths and try to strengthen ourselves to be at our highest and our wisest ability, to stop being a destructive person in our community if they really listen to the numerology session of guidance. You know how many times it saved me from suicide, understanding this science? It saved me from that. Understand that. Thanks to Lloyd, because I met Lloyd back in 88. Back in 88, I was studying Lloyd back in 88. Then when I got on radio, that's when I met Lloyd back in the 80s going into the 90s. So this science helped me to move forward. I always commend Lloyd. I will never disrespect his name. I always shout out his book. My books are traveling with me. I got 30 books with me all the time. I brought more numerology because I'm always studying, because I hate when people say that this is the only guide or this is the complete guide of numerology. Hell no, numbers are infinite. There's so much to learn.
Numbers are going to be here when we leave too. Long after we leave, numbers are going to be here, buddy.
Lloyd, how many years has this guy been dead? Shiro, how many years has he been dead?
He died on October the 8th of 1936.
1936, and this book is still one of the best books.
Yeah. He was born on November the 1st, 1866 in England. Actually, he was born in Ireland, then grew up in England.
Listen, I want to say this, and I want to get to a couple of more. I don't want to forget about the people, but I'm a living testament to these gentlemen. Sometimes in life, we know who we are, but then with so many outside external stimuli and people selling you different perceptions of life, you could get caught up and you could forget who you are. And you can lose your confidence. You can lose your whatever, your swagger, your mojo, whatever you got going on. And when these brothers talk to you, I'll give you an example. King Simon, I'll never forget the day. I was worried. I was in a worrisome state, and my business was kind of slow. And King Simon walked up to me. He was like, "Man, you a number 8, man. You." And the way he talked to me, King Simon, you changed my vibration like that.
Yeah.
And anytime I'm feeling down, I can use that as a reference point. Like, nah, I'm an 8. I ain't never gonna be fucked up. I'm a number 8. I'm good.
8 is straight up money. Okay,
Yes.
which Simon knows. It's just so the question for you, Brother Rich, doesn't become will you, it's when and how.
Yeah.
So it's not an if factor. Will I be rich?
So I'm telling the people this to tell y'all, like, these brothers, they're reminders. They were put here on purpose. Like, you know, we put on what do you call it? I forget what you call that, but you know, but I guess before we came down here, we're like, I need somebody to remind me at this age, at that age, at that age. Right now, these brothers are here to remind us. Please don't take these gentlemen for granted. They changed my life remarkably. I want y'all to holler at these brothers after the show. But before
and Rich, you see how I changed your life? This man changed my life.
That's how it happens. That's how it happens.
Yeah. This is how it works. And this is when I left the temple. I left Unsought or Law Community in 1988, and then I heard him on LIBBLS. I left. I didn't know what to do. I divorced my first wife. I left that community. I left her there. I left my child about to come out, my firstborn about to come out of there because I was being controlled by a community that I just didn't want to be around no more. And this man changed my life through what he said on radio. And I had to go see him at the Apollo. I had to go see him at another place. And then that's when I started going on radio. And that this man changed my life.
The best of friends, and now we're brothers.
That's right.
Excellent. Let me get to Paul. We got Paul here. I know, Paul, you've been waiting for a second. Paul is December 20th, 1982.
December 20th?
Yes.
Okay.
1982.
Well, Paul, you know, I have this thing, since 2 is the feminine number. And when I see it in a man, like when I was at a radio station, I met Busta Rhymes. He's born on May 20th, right?
Yeah.
So I said, oh, man, women are your blessing and your curse. He went into a diatribe about so-and-so. So I'm saying the same thing about Paul. But if Paul finds that women can be a blessing and a curse, he probably won't be surprised in the first place. He'll probably text you back, that's true, how do we know? But what happens is, because he gets along much better with the women, there will be women, and I've heard it from time to time. Well, if, you know, I can't have it, no other woman can have it. You have some women like that too. Okay, still walking around. Maybe not too many, but you still got some. So you will find, and especially if a guy like that. Also, I've noticed with a man who's on a 2, they either work with a lot of women or have women supervisors, women directors, women managers, or something like that. And where the drama comes in is if this 2 person is married or with his boo. And because women will tell you, well, after I talk to another woman, I want to talk to a man, to get a man's perspective. Well, here he comes, Paul, that is, right? So Paul will be trying to listen, and the lady be saying, honey, you know, y'all got something going here, you know? And it doesn't have to be that. But that's why I say women will be his blessing and his curse. And I'm sure he'll text you back and says, yeah, that's kind of sort of right.
Okay, let's get to my brother Psych L. He's I always see him in the chat room. He is January 20th, 1985.
There's another 20. See, Simon, you got this one.
Another 2.
I just seen Psych. Psych just sent me something too. Big up to Psych. What's up, Psych?
Big up Psych.
Thank you, Psych. Psych is entering a 7-year cycle. Psych, this is a good year for traveling abroad, man. Get away. Get your mind right. Get into introspection. Get into loving your internal self. Get into meditation. Get into transcendental meditation. As a matter of fact, you're born the same day as Epstein. Woo! I hope you ain't in that type of trouble. But
shit.
That's right. That was his birthday. Right.
Yeah.
You know yourself, Simon.
Yeah, that was his birthday. But I'm just saying, because
I told y'all they sharp.
Because he's coming out of this critical cleansing cycle. I hope in the last 52 days he's done some type of cleansing and got rid of a lot of madness before his Earth Day. So you still have time. You got a few more days left, my brother. This is the time to cleanse yourself, cleanse your room. Whatever you don't need anymore, get rid of it. So you want remember, everybody's birthday is their personal new year. It's your personal new year. So before your birthday, that 52-day Rosicrucian cycle of numerology, what they say about that, it's all about that cleansing. It's about removing certain things and being very mindful of how you deal with conversation with people, being getting into any arguments, but it's a good time to deal with elderly. But because he's going into a 7-year cycle, it's good for him to deal with himself. A getaway point. This is the time to get away. Get away and write let out some stuff because you're born under some writings numbers. I see some writings coming out of you. So you need to release as much as you can, my brother. Don't second guess yourself because the twos have a tendency to second guess themselves.
Yep.
Stop second guessing yourself and do it. Just do it. Like Michael Jordan used to say, just do it.
Just do it. We got a universe reading here, January 1st, 1960. Universe Space, that's their name. Universe Space, that's their name on.
Well, first of all, this person will be glad to know there are no less than 5 planets now in Saturn. And Saturn governs Capricorn. One of them is the one that King Simon and I alluded to earlier, which is Jupiter. Jupiter is back in early December of last month, went into the sign of Capricorn and will sit there. Whenever Jupiter sits in the sign, it sits in the sign for a complete year. So toward the end of this year, December, then Aquarians like Simon and I will be the beneficiary of Jupiter's influence. But right now, all Capricorns will benefit, and Jupiter always brings prosperity, good luck, expansion, self-improvement, this, that, and the other, games of chance. So I would say this person, but there is a challenge because they're entering a 6th personal year. So that means they may have to make some adjustments. There may be some health concerns, and they need to be careful in how they're interacting. And if they could say they're going to do something, make sure they follow it to the letter.
Indeed. All right, let's go to Keisha. Keisha is January 14th, 1991.
A lot of Capricorns. That was
a lot of Capricorns. Interesting.
yeah. Did you know for this young lady, she's bright, intelligent. She's young and old at the same time, and will also attract much older relationships and younger relationships at the same time too. That's how I see it. And then this year, she's in a 1 cycle year, which is a year for her to start new, start fresh, start all over again, minus whatever mistakes she made over the last 9-year cycle. But when Simon mentioned something about Capricorns, he and I know, did you know, Rich, that all of the great African-American and African historians are Capricorn? Is a Capricorn. Dr. John Hope Franklin, a Capricorn. Dr. John Henry Clark, a Capricorn. Dr. Ben Yekinen, a Capricorn. Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, a Capricorn. Dr. Leonard Jeffries, a Capricorn.
Damn, that's a long list.
Dr. Khalid Muhammad.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He's
Capricorn.
Yeah.
Some of the greatest boxers: Bernard Hopkins, Muhammad Ali, George
Patterson, George Frazier, or Jones Jr. Capricorn.
Exactly.
Wow. This is incredible.
Yeah, but see, what Simon and I know is whatever sign you are, we can point out your greatness too.
Exactly.
That's what got me into this, because I was shy coming up, and I was very bashful. And so I said, well, let me read about astrology, being an Aquarius. But I found out as my journey is, and I'm sure just as Simon did, that everybody wants to know about themselves. What makes them unique? What makes them special? What makes them a standout in the crowd? That is a human response. And so I don't care what sign. I can tell you all the famous Virgos, you know what I'm saying, from Richard Wright to, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Michael Jackson.
Michael
Jackson. Yeah. And in fact, you know what's interesting? Let me tell you something about Virgos. Charlie Parker, the famous jazz musician, they used to call the king of bop. Michael Jackson, they used to call him the king of pop. Well, Michael Jackson and Charlie Parker were both born on the same day, January 29th.
Whoa. August 29th.
Oh, excuse me. Thank you. August 29th. Thank you, Simon. God bless you. Don't embarrass myself.
We got to back each other up.
I get so excited. See, Simon and I got so much information in our head, But the point is, the king of bop and the king of pop happen to be born August 29th.
Hey, that's so.
You know what I'm saying? The famous Nathan Pritikin died. The guy was a Virgo. Okay.
Dave Chappelle, Virgo.
Yeah. Dave Chappelle, Tyler Perry, Beyonce, Iyanla Van Zant. I mean, we can run it. So no matter what sign you are, we can point out your greatness. And so I think that's what makes what we do so attractive to everybody we meet. Because everybody want to raise their hand and what about me?
And it's simple too. It's simple. And we don't even have to go on the computer and do it. Sometimes it's in our head, sometimes it's on paper, whatever. We just go. I'm not going into any computers about this.
And I did. There was an example. If you look on the YouTube video, I was on with Z Starman. okay,
Yes.
one time. And on this video, it was he and two other astrologers. Well, Z Starman had his computer. These other two had their computers, and I'm just there holding my hand in my head.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So what I'm saying is that, like, what we do is very powerful. What we do is very helpful. And then we have young people coming up. I'm not familiar yet with this lady, the astrologer. Have I ever met this lady you're talking about?
Yes, you have met Quiet Storm. You met her before, but yeah, she's new. But you met her at one of the events. She was just there vending.
Okay.
Just
And
vending,
then
yeah.
you're gonna have upcoming ones like a Brandon Smith,
Kaya.
a Kaya French,
Yeah.
you know,
Asma.
Kyra in Paris. You know, Simon is already there. Simon is up there already. Simon, listen, I was looking through the images on Numerology on Google. Up popped a couple of your books.
Yeah.
See, that's those.
But I say, it comes to working with you and learning, and watching. I'll never be Lloyd Strahorn. I only can make my own lane. That's why I created Numerovation, and it's in the Urban Dictionary now. So I'm not.
Yeah.
I create my own lane. I'm going to motivate you with your numbers. That's all it means.
Yeah.
Using the basic.
So we should give you a reading, Rich. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, we can do that.
First of all, you are an Earth sign with an Earth number. That means you're very pragmatic, very grounded, like to use a lot of common sense. So you know how when you see those action movies where the characters are running down the hall and jumping out the window?
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to do that, okay? No. You might run down the hall, look, say, nah.
Yeah.
Earth sign people are steadfast. Earth sign people and Earth numbers are very loyal, dependable. You can really, really depend on them. It's like taking money to the bank. Earth sign people sometimes can be rigid or a little conservative.
Right.
Because they don't just jump out there and stuff like that. 8 is the money number. And it's interesting because some of the wealthiest people are born on the 17th. John D. Rockefeller, the founder of Rockefeller Dynasty, was born on the 17th. J.P. Morgan was born on the 17th.
Muhammad Ali.
Now in Muhammad Ali, and let me tell you about Muhammad Ali and Michael Jordan. They were both born on the 17th. One was in January, one was in February. Well, until Muhammad Ali came along, Rich, boxers were getting paid next to nothing to get their blocks knocked off. Muhammad Ali came on the scene, and now everybody, fast forward, Mayweather get like $20-something million a fight.
Yeah.
They all need to thank Muhammad Ali for
Muhammad
that.
Ali.
Okay? Now, take Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's been out the game, about 15 years or so, 20 years?
Yeah.
But every other week, his retros still sell like gangbusters.
Still, yeah.
So 17 is a money number, and one of my children is born on your birthday. And of all my children, he's the one that makes the money. Mercedes.
No coincidence. No coincidence.
He's in a Mercedes. My son is something else.
Wow.
Also, Rich, because of your in the study of numbers, also that 8 is an old soul energy. So you attract old people, you bring back old things and turn it into something new and for the future. Also, because your alignment numbers are 26, you always had to be careful of bad advice, bad relationship, bad issues, ruin from bad things. But also, you have a lot of compassion in whatever you go to, whether it's music, whatever you do, it has to come with compassion. And it has to come with that old soul energy. That's why in the beginning you was interviewing a lot of the older gentlemen of the time, the Dick Gregory, the Phil Valentine.
Right. Bobby, yeah.
But see, it is an old soul.
He is an old soul.
And so therefore, so if you had an affair, Rich, with an older woman when you were a younger guy, it would come as no surprise to me, which is none of my business.
They always like me. The older women, they always like me.
They want to put you on their lap.
No, they want to share with you some of their secrets. That's right.
Oh man, yeah, they always liked me when I was young. Man. They always. Oh man, let's get to Mike. Let's get to a few more. Let's get to Mike here. We got Mike here on November 29th, 1965.
He's born the same day as Billy Strayhorn. He's born the day as Adam Clayton Powell. He's born the same day as Barack Obama's mother, by the way.
And he's born the same day as Don Cheadle and Chadwick Boseman, who I trained martial arts with.
See, that's how our brains work. But Because no, see, our point is no matter who you are, we can find somebody just as significant or as important if one needs a role model or
Yeah.
something for encouragement. Wow,
Yeah.
I'm born on the same day as Tyler Perry, who owns a 300-acre studio. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Even if he's not a Tyler Perry, even if he doesn't, he or she will feel this sense of encouragement. You know? So knocking somebody, we've always done that. And that's part of the programming in this culture, that we knock each other, you know,
Right.
crabs in the barrel, as they say. But to uplift the person, to tell them about their greatness and the thing. So that's why people get tired of me, because I'm old. Now, there's a lot of negative things that Simon and I can come up with, because we've studied those too. But our role is to help you help yourself and move better as a, you know, move forward as a better person. That's the goal.
And he's entering this number 8-year cycle, coming from a 7-year cycle. So he just now he being this transition is happening, he's going into this money cycle. He just better make sure that the money either helps him or it might haunt him, because a lot of old things might come back to play if he didn't take care of the business in the previous years. That's especially when it comes with bills and paying your bills and all that. Also, it's a good money year for you to start your own business. Person born on 11/29. This is one of your good years to start your own business, thinking on enterprising level, but also thinking about moving or buying property or getting into property ownership. Very good year for you to do that too.
And again, because there are in the one that Simon pointed, if nothing else, this is your year to step out on faith.
Yes.
And those that are in codependent relationships, when you're in a one cycle year, you're going to have problems, because in a one cycle, it either forces you to stand on your own or you learn how to stand on your own.
No, he's going into an 8-year cycle, brother. 8.
No, November 29th.
November 29 plus 222.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yes,
I don't know where my head was.
Yeah. He's going into an 8-year cycle.
But you know what? This is a perfect example. As long as I've been doing this and teaching this, I tell people I'm still make mistakes. I'm human.
That's right.
You know,
right.
I don't do it deliberately. Trust me.
King Simon's on it, though. King Simon's on it.
Yeah, no, that's my backup. And
he's on it. He's right. He's supposed to step out, but this is about his money. He's right, but it's not a 1, but that 8-year, that 8 personal year is very important for him to do.
We'll be in a 1 next month where he can do that.
Right, exactly.
Let's get to Damon. Damon's born June 21st, 1981.
Wow.
Damon's in a 4-year. Damon, whoever he is very popular, very youthful. Don't look his age. More than likely, he's dated women from other cultures or other parts of the human family. But this year, he's got to toe the line because he's in a 4 personal year. So he has one of those rarities, Rich, where his universal year and personal year are exactly the same. In other words, 2020 is a 4. So that's the universal year, which means what each and every one of us will go through, but to a greater or lesser degree. Well, this person's personal year is the same and matching the universal year. So that means if he's having a good time, he's having a good time. If he's not having a good time, he's really not having a good time. But in this case, so he's going to be laying the foundation to some things that are very, very important to build that which he wants to build. So all depending on what the blueprints of the plans are in his mind and how much he wants to manifest them, this will be the year to make that happen for this person, June 21st.
We got I want to hurry up and get these last couple of people. We got TJ Jewel. This is August 15th, 1980. No, August 15th, 1981. So another 81.
Simon, because I read why you want to get this one.
Yeah. He's born the same day as Nipsey Hussle. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a sister. It's a sister.
It's a sister. Okay, sis, I'm sorry. You're born the same day as Nipsey Hussle. I think with that sister, because you're born on the 15th, that's a very, very magnetic and very impressive. And she's very beautiful. I bet you she's a very beautiful woman. You know, also, she's in a number 9-year personal cycle, which is interesting because 9 means she has to end what she started. It's a good year to think on a more higher level for her to complete what she started. And it's also a good year for her to either do some traveling or learn a different language this year. It's a good year to either think about learning another language because 9 is usually that language year, that language number. international numbers, about doing that international stuff. Don't limit yourself. Don't think on limitations. And because you're a fifth, because first of all, you're born August the 15th, and that alignment number is a 23. Remember that alignment, or sometimes people call it the pinnacle. That number says you got to be careful of scattering your brain. Maintain your balance and your focus. That one represents in the 15. That one represents the creativity and the trailblazing attitude you have, but that 5 represents also the adaptability and the flexibility that you have to balance it out, because it equals the 6. Very important that you balance it out. You can't be all over the place, and you got to use it for your benefit. So that is and then I think she's in that 9-year personal year. It's all about staying focused and completing her jobs.
All right, we got Nakidra, and this is March 22nd, 1987.
Woo! March 22nd. Go ahead, Lloyd.
This is going to prove to be a very important year for this particular person, because if you remove the zeros from 2020, there's a 22 staring her in the face. And you know what, Rich? Remember when we did the workshop earlier last year in June, when the candidates were starting to run? And I said there was going to be one person that's going to rise up the ranks, and they're still in there, and that's Elizabeth Warren, because she's born on the 22nd day. In fact, her birthday was the same day we gave the workshop, June 22nd. And only because the year when you remove those zeros of 22. So I think it was like 16 or 17. Now they're about down to about 6 or 7. And she's still hanging in there. And it looks like she's going to be in there a minute too. This is going to be a good year for her. So in the case of this person born on March the 22nd, that means for them, they're going to be in a kind of like a 2 personal year where things are slowed down. They're going to have to exercise some patience. They're going to have to exercise some understanding. You know what I'm saying? And instead of being more rebellious and ornery and a maverick, they should learn the lessons of teamwork. And so be more sweeter than whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like how you fight a war. You know, sometimes you need the Navy to come in by one way, and the Air Force to come in by another way. So in a 2 cycle year that this person is in, instead of Aries can be forceful, Force can be something else. But instead of being that forceful something else type of person, you know, be something like they say, wow, this is totally different for him. What's gotten to him? What he been drinking, you know? Or something like that. But it's just the style, being more patient, more receptive, and being a good listener, because that's what a 2 does. They listen, because people always come to 2s for advice or counsel in some way. Like Rich, you know, how long would it take me to get from the earth to the moon? It's like, yo, man, why are you asking me? You know, but 2 people will tell you that, where people will walk up to them, they don't even know, and tell all their business. There's some people that are very gifted like that, and with 2s, that's one of their gifts, where people just open up to them and tell all their business.
We got Jeremy, who's born on July 9th, 1983. He even gave the time. He said 2:22 p.m. God damn, Jeremy.
Right.
Jeremy ain't playing.
The only other element he didn't include was where. That's why an astrologer needs to know. So, for example,
that's for the full reading. We got to save that for the full reading now.
Right. So, like, if I call somebody 10 o'clock in the morning here, it's 4 o'clock in Spain. Okay. Then it's 12 hours in China ahead. Yet, if I call Hawaii, it's 6 hours behind us. So there's these time zones. So yes, we do need to know the time, but also very important, because as you and I know, California, they are 3 hours behind us. Right. So in radio, as Simon and I know, we would start about 1 o'clock, because in California time it's about 9 o'clock. Okay. And that's when we start our business there. So the timing is very important, which he has, but the location is equally more so too. Especially for Simon, he's born on July 9th. What do you say?
Oh, he's going into an 11-year cycle this year. We know that's the famous fortune cycle. That's also the visionary seeing things and writing down the ideas that they have to put to work. And because 11, the lower octave of the number 11 is the number 2. Because he's born on the number 9, you got to be a little bit more concerning about that, because that can be a challenge number at one point. But because he's a Cancer, 2 is also a good number for him.
Yeah.
You gotta weigh its pros and cons, please. Because you're going into a number 11-year cycle, this is a master number year cycle that Lloyd and many others said, don't come too often. 11 and 22 don't come too often. So please make use of all the inspiration that's coming, because as a Cancer, they're already intuitive. So this is just about to heighten. This year is about heightening, taking it to the next level. And writing, having vision, have a vision board, write what you need to do and put your vision. Have visualization, have affirmation, have inspiration, and make sure you make it circulate it and make sure you monetize it. This is a good year to go right into that number 3 year next year by monetizing whatever visions come to you.
Okay, we got Kioka, and I think that's the name. And she's born on March 3rd. We were just talking about March 3rd, 1979.
Well, she's born in 79, but she could say she's born in 1988. Nobody would give her problems. In other words, Rich, whoever this person is, she does not look her age. So if she's ever wanted to know why younger men are drawn to her, that's one thing. There's another thing I noticed about 3 women too, in the sense that 3 is a career-oriented number. I'll meet women 3s who got good jobs, nice cars, nice clothes, nice place. But then when I get to the area or arena of relationships, that seems the problem that's most challenging. And I think what happens is because in their relationships, you got some guys that kind of want to domesticate them. But I would tell a guy who's dealing with anybody, a woman with a lot of 3s, is yes, you can be there, make sure the home is there and all that stuff, but encourage her to go on out there and take no prisoners for the day and do what she has to do, you know. But that's the thing, because number 1 women, number 3 women are more career oriented than domestic oriented.
Indeed, right? We
in mind, fellas, to save you a lot of wear and tear.
We gonna get to 2 more family, and I want you all to hit them up for the extended reading. And if I think there's a couple, just hit them up for the extended reading. Big
up to Kafunya. Big up to Kafunya. She's on the line.
Oh, shout out to Kafunya always. Make sure y'all show
number
support.
7 lady.
Yeah, August 16th.
when is she at Nicholas?
Every Tuesday. Every Tuesday she's at Nicholas with Monique. So big up to Nick. They do the healing circle at Nicholas. Matter of fact, the healing circle was founded by a dear friend of ours that moved away. But big up to her all the time. The one, the only Sister Kafunya, and the one, the only MJ. Big up to MJ who found that back in the day. So big up to that. Okay, great.
We got Kweku. I hope I'm saying the names right. Kweku.
Kweku.
Probably Kweku, and that's April 6th. 1994.
Okay, well, this is a gentleman that should have been probably very athletic coming up in school, especially when it came to any type of intramural sports like baseball, football, volleyball, racquetball, tennis ball, soccer ball, whatever. But the point is that this person has 3 areas to lean into. One is the arts, being a singer, I'll think of the name in just a moment. Or an artist or painter, that's one. Then in the business world, the 6 would do well in the world of business, banking. Bob Marley. I don't know why that slipped my mind like that. Bob Marley.
February 6th. Right.
Yeah, and also Natalie Cole, who's a number 6.
Number 6.
6 moves the vocal cords. That's why it says singing, painting, artistry, whatnot. In the world of business, so they do well in banking, real estate, law. And then in the health field, they are your nutritionists, therapists, life coaches, counselors, therapists, things like that. So this person has a lot of areas that he can go into. It all depends. And the only thing about 6 is that the challenge is they can be very stubborn and have control issues.
And matter of fact, he's born the same day as Sarnetta from Sarnetta 2.
That's right.
He's born the same day as Spice, the big major reggae artist, Spice.
Yeah.
And he's in a 5 personal year. So these are the crossroads of his life right now. Make sure he makes some decisions. Good year to travel and move forward and expand in whatever business. And he should be running his own business too, because I see his numbers say he should be running his own business, whether in the health, whether in dealing with his vocals or whatever. He needs to run his own business. But he's in the crossroads of his life right now. He needs to make some real major decisions in the next few years. This year.
I would agree.
Yes, sir.
Interesting. Wow. We got LaVon, born February 19th, 1972.
LaVon, Okay, well, this is a year for them to get right with their heart, their spirit. This person is in a 7-cycle year by taking the month and day they were born, February the 19th, adding it to the year 2020, which adds up completely to a 7. So 7 is normally a challenging time for people, although if they understand not. And the only reason I say challenging because we live in a very material and emotional world. It's about the dollar bill or boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever. Well, in a 7 cycle, it makes you get right with yourself, get right with God, get right with your creator. It makes you stop, looking, listen to ask yourself, why am I doing the things I'm doing and what does it all mean? They start having some very interesting dreams, but the rule is don't chase. If they want anything, whatever they want this year, desirous of this year, don't chase after it. But just think about it and it will be drawn to them.
And what's so funny, she's born the same day as Smokey Robinson, huh? She's born the same day as Smokey Robinson, and she would be good if she did some more writing, just like Smokey. She needs to write, have a journal, especially in this 7-year cycle that she's going. Have a journal, writing down her thoughts is going to be very important this year. Yeah, having a journal is going to be very important. So please, because now in numerology, remember the 19 is also known as the karmic number. So you got to be very careful of starting something and not finishing, because the 1 represents the alpha, the 9 represents the omega. If you start something, finish it. Don't second guess it.
Wow.
Yes,
we got Kevin on October 18th, 1976.
Woo!
Okay, well, he's in a 5 personal year, also like the last person that Simon described. So 5 is very friendly to this person. 5 denotes travel. They're born on the 18th. It denotes travel. So if this person is interested in taking a lot of short trips, especially weekend trips, it wouldn't surprise me. But at the same time, across large bodies of water or land, like from here to California, here to Europe, South America, Africa, whatever the case is. This person from the birthday tends to like people in uniform. So if they wear in uniform, they might find them attractive, or actually they themselves may have a job or career where they in fact wear a uniform. They tend to be more injury prone and accident prone, but they're under the sign of Libra, which is the sign of beauty and balance. So evidently there shouldn't be too much of any problems one way or the other.
All right. With that being said, I want everybody, King Simon, put your info once again.
I put our info in there.
These gentlemen are masters at what they do. Whew. They knock down them readings like fast, man. Y'all ain't no joke, man. I appreciate, seeing you serious with your craft. It only inspires me to be serious with my craft, and it should inspire everybody else.
That's the whole point. Whatever their passions are, be the best at the passions.
Like the way they just knock these birthdays down, man. Like that ain't no joke, man.
Simon and I can do this blindfolded, man.
Wow. Wow.
Blindfolded.
Did you put your information in the
I did. I put mine and Lloyd's information, the number, our website, and all that. Mine, I tell people just text me. They have to text me. They can just, but Lloyd, I got his website and his 1-800 number, and I got my number in there too. So
and if you go to my website,
I got your website, Lloyd-Strahorn.com.
Right, and that's where they can get their predictions for all the signs for 2020.
Exactly. Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure.
Let me do one last one real quick. I didn't say Brianna. March 8th, 1989. Brianna.
Steadfast, loyal, a little misunderstood, attract both older and younger men at the same time.
Ooh, Brianna.
The better she becomes, and she has a knack for business management and administration.
And she's very intuitive. She got to pay attention to her gut feelings. Don't mess up. Sometimes when you're dealing in a relationship, if your spirit says that person is fooling around or doing something obstructive or something to you, believe me, your spirit is right and exact. And also, she's entering a 6-year cycle this year also. So it's very important that she pay attention and stay balanced in her mind and her thought, but also resolve anything that she has that she had in her family. Because I know a lot of those 8s go through a lot of family stuff. Pay attention to whatever transpired in your family in a 6 year. It's all about forgiveness, because forgiveness is the highest form of healing and moving on in this year.
Shout out to Chicago Crypto Hustler. I ain't forget about you, brother. He deals with the cryptocurrency.
Yes,
We're gonna do something soon, brother. I ain't forget about you.
Yeah.
All
right.
Lloyd, I want to ask you something, Lloyd. You mentioned something, and we're gonna end it with this. I don't want to keep you all too long, but I appreciate these gentlemen for coming on. I actually just called King Simon and Lloyd this morning. It was kind of a last minute kind of thing. The door just popped in my head, and I called them, and here we are right now.
Yeah.
So that's how it works, you know. So but I want to ask you, Lloyd. Earlier, you talked about 2020 being a universal year. Now, the thing about that being a universal year is that people consider 2020 like this is the Roman calendar, the Greco-Roman calendar.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere along the line, they decided that they're going to start all over from one. So we have BC and then we have AD. So along the lines, they say, you know what? This year is year number one. So it seems like they just change this whenever they want to. So how does when they change it whenever they want to align with what the universe has in motion?
Well, you know, that's a good question for which I don't fully have an answer. But I think, as Simon once said at the very top of the show we were starting, people have to remember there are many different types of calendars. I have a student I spoke to yesterday, Samira from the Middle East, where she lives at. Her birthday is September 6th. Over here is January something. So it all depends on the calendar. So it depends on the calendars, but most people, since we are here in the West, I go on the assumption that we're going to use the Western calendar, which is Sunday through Saturday, you know, January through February, and the dates in between. Other than that, there are different types of calendars that affects what you do, like the Mayan calendar. So, for example, if we was in, you know, Maya and stuff like that, we would probably use that calendar more than a calendar here in the West. And if we were in the East, and then but again, they're all, a lot of societies and nations have their own calendars.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one that's used primarily here in the West, as they call it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and thoughts of things, Rich. You know how we always speak about that in on your page, red pill, blue pill. Thoughts of things, and because it's just like the 2020 vibration of the new year. Everybody joined in. It became what it is because of those. All of us putting our energy to it. Now, if all of us put our energy to the Jewish calendar, or all of us put our energy to the Chinese calendar, or the Kemetic calendar, or the Dogon calendar, that's what it would be also. It's us when it comes to this. It's us. It's the society. If we turned over the society and decide to rule it, then we could put our calendar, our original calendar in. One Mukasa Africa on YouTube, on Facebook, said that the Kemetic calendar, according to him, should be 5,000 some odd years. According to him,
yes,
should be 5,000. But he said not BCE. He said something else. But Mukasa Africa, he's also a historian that's well known. He debated Wesley Muhammad some years ago, but I follow him on Facebook, and he broke it down. And I also talked to him about that. And I said, yo, that's a matter. It is a matter of culture, and it's a matter of what we resonate with, because we are the ones. The original people are the ones that make things happen. We are the ones that put things into play. We are the ones that says we allow these people to push these calendars and all this kind of stuff going on. But if you study, even if you study with our brother Raku was breaking down the Aquarian age also, and he formulated how this can actually be why we're in the Aquarian age now. That's why I love bigging up Raku, the cosmophysics, and big up to Raku all the time, and I like respect to him all the time.
Raku is bad. This is a bad brother.
That's a bad brother.
Any last thoughts, comments you want to leave the people with before we get out of here?
Well, you know, this is a year that no one can avoid. It's a year of embracing it. Mm-hmm. But everybody should think in terms of using 2020 foresight than 2020 hindsight. Mm-hmm. They will do much better this year. In other words, think before you get out there. Mm-hmm. I gave an example the other day of, you know, people are on edge, right? Mm-hmm. So let's say you got a guy that takes a woman out and he goes to the bathroom or something. Another guy comes and talks to her with this guy not knowing that her man just went somewhere else. Then that guy comes back. And in fact, there was a famous restaurateur here in Harlem that was killed about last year, year before last. He was downtown at an event. He had talked to this sister, okay? He didn't know the sister was with a dude. The dude came back from where he did it, shot and killed her. Okay, now here's what I'm saying about 2024 sight. Because we've got this ego. Now, here it is. He kills the guy, unfortunately. You know he going to jail. Do you think that lady's going to wait around for him, Brother Rich, till he comes out 20, 30 years later? So in hindsight now, he's very intelligent to say, was that worth it? He'd have probably said, no, it was not. Was it worth killing him? No, because it robs him of his freedom. So we've got to think 2024 sight versus 2020 hindsight. Like, oh man, I wish I hadn't have done that. I wish I'd have thought twice about that. Because in that way, everybody's going to be intelligent this year.
Excellent. So, and I'd just like to say briefly that 2020 is a doorway to the awakening.
I like how you put that, Simon. I like how you put that. That's perfect. So if you hear me use it, you know I got it.
No problem, brother. It just came to me too. A doorway to the awakening.
Yeah, I like that.
At the end of the day, because it connects to the number 4, it's all about the mind. So you could either mentally be awake or you could be mentally asleep. At the end of the day, it's all in your hands. That's all I can say. I love y'all.
With that, when that being said, I want to thank everybody in the chat room for tuning in. Thank you, Lloyd. Thank you, King Simon.
And I want to thank those that made a contribution to your channel, because you always worked your butt off. You've always provided some amazing content, amazing guests, and I mean, so that's what we do.
I want to bring these gentlemen back next month or the month after that, but y'all got to support them.
No,
when I call them next week, I want them to say, yo, the people hit me up. Then I know y'all want them back on the show again. But I got 2 masters. You can't go on any YouTube channel and see this now. This is something special right here. You're not going to see this on any YouTube or any TV channel or any radio station. This is something extremely rare and special right here. So let me know you enjoy it. And call these brothers. Talk to them, support them. And I'm gonna bring these brothers on every month.
Let's say you make sure that you're from.
Rich, I got over 20 texts, Rich. Believe me.
Okay. Wow. Amazing.
I don't even know I got texts. I don't know how to do what you guys are doing, but it's okay. I'll learn.
Oh man,
I'm not going nowhere.
Amazing. Well, with that being said, man, thanks once again. We getting out of here. Peace.
Thank you.
Peace.